Welcome. Well, you are at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we're delighted that you've welcomed us into your home. You know, we want to hear from you. Today, we're taking your questions from our viewing audience. So if you're watching this live broadcast on Monday, give us a jingle at 1-800-221-9460. If you're calling and you're outside North America, you can reach us at area code 205-271-2980. And you can always send us an email with your question or your comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com, or reach us on Twitter, twitter.com/Jim and Joy Pinto. Well, today it is National Marriage Week, right? It was declared by our USCCB on a yearly event from February 7th to February 14th that it is National Marriage Week. And last week we talked about it some, right? And I hope you heard something from your priest about it, maybe something in your bulletin. I know a lot of parishes are doing events. And our theme for today is Love This Valentine's Day. What are you doing, right? The question is,
what are you doing to affirm God's
love for Valentine's Day and Marriage Week? So what are you doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Which is important, because we all need to move forward in love and say, how are we doing? Take a little test of our journey and say, what's the best of us? What's the worst of us? What's got to go?
Well, just because we've allotted a week, the 7th through the 14th, and we're aware of it, are you aware of it? We want to hear from you about what you've been doing, or your questions or your comments. But to have a whole week thinking about how do we strengthen our marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, what could we do? How can we share with others? How do we share with our children? How do we share with our grandchildren? To have a whole week, and to set Valentine's Day, that's this Thursday, by the way, Saint Valentine's Day, in the context of a week. So many of us are like, well, what am I going to do for Valentine's Day, or what special thing can I do? And so it's all about a day. No, now Valentine's Day is set in the midst of a week, week of thinking, of praying, of sharing, of strengthening. And we've been doing that. And we want to hear what you're doing, or what your plans are for Valentine's Day. One of the key things we did, which was such a blessing, we renewed our marital vows before the greatest priest ever, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So we have a tabernacle in our center, our pro-life center, and you had been there, and when you open up the tabernacle door, our Lord's Eucharistic presence is in a monstrance.
Yes.
So you were before him for an hour. And then after the hour, we thought maybe we'll renew our vows, maybe not. You said, come on, and let's do our vows now. And I tell you, I went in and we knelt before the Lord and said, you know, I want to affirm, and you said, I want to affirm the vows that we took some 41 years ago, and affirm that, for better or worse, for richer or poor, in sickness and health, until we're parted by death. We also had to love and to cherish till we're parted by death. This is my solemn vow. And then you shared that. And then we did a serendipitous kind of sharing. It was so powerful. We strongly recommend renewing your marital vows, reaffirming them. Find a tabernacle. Go to the church. Even if you're not before the monstrance, just the tabernacle. And say, I'm renewing my marital vows before the priest, the great high priest, Jesus Christ. And I'll tell you what, we'll share more about it when we come back, but I was totally undone by it.
No, and it's so beautiful. And you either do that, hopefully you are doing that. You're doing that on Valentine's Day, you're doing it your anniversary day. We know of a couple, they renew their wedding vows every day.
Every day, yeah.
Now that's called setting your house in order, right? Where they're renewing their house every single day, where they're saying, this is who we are. And if you did your readings today on this Feast of Our Lady of Lourdes, in Genesis, our God, the most awesome creator of all, talked about everything that he created, and especially man and woman, and why he created them in Marriage Week, lest we forget.
We're going to take a break at this point. We want to hear from you. The phone numbers are up, or email us. How are you affirming God's love in your marriage this Marriage Week and for Valentine's Day? We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, remember, we're taking your questions today. So if you're watching us on this live broadcast, give us a jingle at 1-800-221-9460. Outside North America, it's 205-271-2980. You can email us your question to Jim and Joy at ewtn.com or reach us on Twitter, twitter.com, jimandjoypinto.com.
And again, we want to know what your plans are for Valentine's Day, St. Valentine's Day, what you've been doing for Marriage and Family Week, what means a lot to you in terms of affirming God's love this Valentine's Day and Marriage Week. What has been happening in your church through your pastor, as he mentioned it, your bishop. Our bishop this Sunday at the 11 o'clock Mass, we weren't there, but he had all couples come up married 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and just talked about marriage, affirmed the marriages, had them come up by the altar, gave them a special certificate. Nothing like your bishop, lifting up marriage, lifting up your marriage for everybody to see in the congregation.
Right. And we were out Friday night, and the bishop was at this event, and he even mentioned it at this other event that we were at Friday night. Because everybody, we don't know, and there are so many wonderful things, so many great documents, so much teaching, but it doesn't get down to the laity. And so we really have to work at that. Now, one thing that we did a little test, right? Yeah. And which is always good to do. It's good to kind of look at yourselves and see where you are and how you are. And we'll talk about that later, but we are going to go. We have Rose, Mary Rose Verrett. Now, we've had them on our show before.
Witness to Love is their ministry.
Witness to Love. It's a great, great ministry that they have. And we're going to talk about some of the initiatives and stuff that they have going on, and which is going to be great.
So Mary Rose, I think that she's the co-founder of Witness to Love, Marriage and Prep Renewal, does a lot of work with engaged couples. And now she has a new initiative. So, Mary Rose, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good to hear you, Jim.
Oh, it's wonderful to hear you, and hope that Ryan's doing well and your blessed family. Have you been having a good marriage week, and what have you been sharing with people?
Oh, we've been having a great week. It's been busy. We just got back from New York, Connecticut, D.C., and Virginia, and we're about to head out to Albuquerque. So it's been busy. Yeah. World Marriage Week is a busy time if you're in marriage and family life ministry, but it's been amazing. And for our listeners, yes, we have been on your show, and we've enjoyed it the times we've been on with you and Joy. And Witness Love is basically a marriage mentoring ministry where engaged couples choose their own mentors, couples whose marriage they admire, to walk with them. And it's a 2-for-1 sort of relationship renewal evangelization effort. So very different than anything else out there. But it's just been so beautiful to watch the fruit and watch communities and parishes over the years just be completely transformed.
Well, your ministry is incredible, as you're saying. It's wonderful because what we do with engaged couples is just absolutely critical for the marital relationship. And so sometimes people are getting married, very little engagement preparation, and then they're kind of like floundering around. But you really help to bring in engaged couples into the totality of the church, not just for their wedding day, but know about all different aspects of the church. They have a mentoring couple that they've selected to help them come into the church and to stand with them, especially in those first years of marriage. Very powerful. And you also have a new initiative. Tell us about that.
We do. We have it's basically an outreach to civilly married Catholics who basically, for whatever reason, finances, formation, waiting on annulment, whatever it was, they didn't get married sacramentally in the Catholic Church. And maybe your listeners, have a child or a relative or a friend who is in that situation. And marriage is so, challenging, blessed but challenging. And so to try to survive without the grace of the sacrament is very hard. And we really want these couples to come into the fullness of the church and receive the sacrament of marriage. And so we have a new initiative to reach couples everywhere. This is the first time there's ever been a national initiative to reach baptized Catholics who are civilly married. And it's about 20% of marriages are what they call convalidations or blessings. But currently there's no real sort of preparation or formation for them, and definitely not something that really integrates them into the church. And these couples, they are such a gift to the church because they can articulate like no one else the difference between living marriage without the grace of the sacrament versus living marriage with the grace of the sacrament.
Yes.
Right.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yes. So they can go to witnesstolove.org. I think it's on your homepage. I remember seeing it just yesterday. They can click that special initiative. And so this is for all of our listeners out there, somebody you know that you know is Catholic. They were married civilly, but not within the church. They don't have a sacramental marriage. And maybe they're saying, wow, how do I do that? How do I have my marriage convalidated and get the blessing of the sacrament? They'd go to your site, and this would help, I guess, their pastor or their priest or that the church that they go to help better bring them in?
Correct. So even somebody who's civilly married who's listening can order materials that they can bring straight to their parish. Or somebody who's listening who wants to bring this to their parish, they can order the materials and bring it to their priest. But it's really to raise awareness and to make the sacrament of marriage really on the forefront of people's minds who maybe just haven't thought about it before.
How are your couples doing, the engaged couples that go through your process, selecting their mentors, good teaching, coming into the fullness of the church? How are they doing, and are they possibly considering becoming mentors to others?
Yes, so that's one of the number one feedbacks we see. We read the surveys that these couples fill out, and they say all the time, going through this process, we've gotten so close to our mentors, so close to the church. Part of going through this, we want to give back. We want to be part of the church community, and we hope that one day we will also be chosen as mentors. And they do; they get chosen. There's a beautiful couple that we worked with almost 7 years ago, and they were civilly married at the time. They had their marriage blessed, and then and they went through Witness to Love. And about 2 years ago, they got asked for the first time to be a mentor couple, and they've been mentors twice now. And it's just incredible to watch them and listen to them.
Perfect. Well, so it doesn't really matter the longevity of their marriage years either, right? I mean, they could be married 10 years and under. They could be married 20 years, 30 years.
The mentor couple, you mean?
Yes.
So normally a mentor couple should be married 5 years or more if their engaged couple is choosing them, and then a mentor couple should be married 10 years or more if a civilly married couple is choosing them. That's kind of what we found is the best fit. But it's really the key is that bridge into parish life is someone they trust and admire and have a relationship with. And when both marriages and relationships are renewed, it just changes the whole parish because church attendance goes from about 10%, which is the normal newlywed rate, up to 70 and eventually 90%. And it's just, if we don't invest in marriage, it's really the last touch point for evangelization. And people are not coming back necessarily to have their children baptized the way they used to. So for many parishes, this is the last frontier of evangelization.
Amen. Mary Rose, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your tireless efforts, you and your husband, Ryan, in witnesstolove.org. Witnesstolove.org if you want to know more about really wonderful training and mentoring for engaged couples. You want to learn more about the special initiative, civilly married, but not sacramentally married. How do I make my way back into the church? Witnesstolove.org. God bless you, Mary Rose.
God bless you, Jim and
Thank
Joy.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, thinking about Marriage Week, this is another important part of it, okay? It's like engaged people. And there's a wonderful website, we've mentioned this website numerous times, foryourmarriage.org. Foryourmarriage.org. Excellent site, sponsored by the USCCB, Conference of Catholic Bishops here in America. So many resources. If you go to that resource, it has for engaged people, married people, family, so many resources that are there for you. How do I know if it's time for me to get engaged? What would that look like? Well, how do I know that it's time? And then once I am engaged, what's the key content that I need to know? Or what kind of tests can we take together to know more about engagement and who we are in inventory? And so plenty of information there. And that's one of the reasons why we're on EWTN, to say, hey, there's a lot of resources. You may not know them, but foryourmarriage.org is one of the key resources.
Right, and as couples are engaged and they're getting married in the church, some dioceses, some parishes require less, right? But don't do the less. Don't just do the checkbox. Say, no, I want to be totally prepared. I want to totally know what's going on. Because we want our marriage not just to survive. We want our marriage to thrive as we go forward. So
we want to hear from you. Want to hear from you. What are you doing this marriage week? What are you doing in terms of Valentine's Day that you'd like to share with us. Also, Joy, we took a test, as you were saying,
We
about the
did.
5 love languages. If you go to the website, 5lovelanguages.com, you could take the test. So what is this about? It's about how is love communicated to your spouse? I mean, what's her love language? And so we've got a number of those areas.
Right.
And so what are the areas there?
Well, for me, I scored the same. They are usually, it's physical touch, it's words of affirmation, it's quality time,
Yeah.
it's gifts giving, right?
Right.
And what was one
Physical
more?
touch.
Physical touch, which is my top score.
That's your love language.
Right. And I think I missed one. Physical touch, acts of service.
Acts of service.
Which is really important.
Well, I'll tell you what, well, let's get to that, but let's
Okay.
take Richard first since he's on the phone, and we'll get back to love languages.
Okay, perfect. Richard, welcome to At Home with Jim and Joy. Your question or your comment?
Oh, thank you very much for taking my call. I'm phoning from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada here, and we're having a real cold winter
Bless you.
here. And anyway, what I'm going to do is take my wife out for dinner.
Perfect.
She wants to go out for dinner. She's not that well. She can't get around to Mass because she's getting better though. I've been praying for her.
Beautiful.
And she's getting better. And I go to Holy Rosary Cathedral. It's our parish here in Regina, Saskatchewan here.
Beautiful.
Perfect. How many years are you married, Richard?
20 years. We had our anniversary.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you have any
We were
particular plans while you're at dinner of what you might touch on or speak about, or just maybe a nice dinner?
Well, yeah, she wants to talk about being a better husband. Like she says, like I forgot about Valentine's because we usually didn't celebrate it.
Yeah.
When I grew up, we didn't bother much. I know the separate schools used to send cards to each other, Valentine cards.
Yeah.
To the students and stuff like that. But nothing much in our family. But there was in their family. She comes from Croatia, by the way.
Okay.
My wife does, and we got married 20 years ago at our church, of course.
Wonderful. Well, Richard,
Yeah, well,
you all have a wonderful dinner. God bless your wife and her health.
You too, you people, and God bless.
Thank you.
Our Lady of Lourdes, eh?
Hey,
Amen.
beautiful.
God
Let her
bless
pray
you
for
all.
us.
Thank
God's healing be upon your wife. And so, Joy, everybody says, well, a dinner.
Right.
And so it's so good. Our faith is so much about a dinner, about the
Right,
Lord's
it's about
Supper.
food.
And so
Food's
it's kind
important.
of, here we are, and dinners and meals together are a holy thing. And Valentine's Day itself, some people are like, I don't know about Valentine's Day, I don't want to do it
So
secular, it's a
commercial,
wasteland.
yeah.
But you know what? He said, I forgot about it, and you know what? I remembered, and we're going out to dinner. So if we could remind you about that. And there's some good suggestions regarding dinners. I mean, you could just have a dinner and be there, but she wants to talk about husband and wife and what that means. And it's you might want to think about when you get together, what can we speak about from our past?
Right.
I always like to speak about the first time I saw you, the second time I saw you, the third time. I saw you 3 times, and I couldn't even speak that you were so stunning and beautiful to me. And even
You're
more
so
now.
kind.
So we laugh about that. And do you remember your first kiss? Do you remember when we first kissed? Don't it was wonderful. I thought. So the first kiss. What were some of our favorite times,
Right.
in our lives, or reminiscing about, our children and,
Right.
and when we were away, we were so young and poor, really, and we had our first child, and what was that like for us? So what's happened in the past that we just want to recall? What's
Right.
happening now?
Right.
Are we doing okay? And we always say, are we doing okay? Do we like our lives? Are we
okay?
We want to make some adjustments. Are
Right.
you okay? And what about our future? Like we're doing this, we're doing that. Do we feel okay about that? Do we have to take some things out? Is there something new that God wants for us? And again, maybe you just want to have dinner. We don't want to go through all that. That's fine, because you just look in one another's eyes and love one another. So I think the past, the now, the future, are all really, really important.
Right. Well, when you take the test, if you go to 5lovelanguages.com, there's a little test there. We took our test. I really thought maybe I'm going to score different. I scored exactly the same because I think our love languages come from the little child within inside of us. And I haven't changed much. I've gotten
So
older.
your love language is meaningful touch.
Yes.
And mine is words of affirmation.
Right.
Okay.
Which totally makes sense.
So how does this work its way out?
So, and it's important that you don't love your spouse from your love language, that you love your spouse from their love language.
So for you, I always like to write sometimes it's lengthy
Right.
about how much I love you and so on. But I thought, because this reminded me, your language is touch.
Right.
So maybe I can get you a massage.
Yes.
Right? Like that.
That would
And
be
you
good.
pay for massage
but
and
you
do
can
it.
touch me. And we do. You're very
okay.
affectionate. You're very kind. You know, like holding hands. Very simple. It doesn't cost any money to hold somebody's hand.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And you'll come up behind me and give me a kiss. And those are things that I like. Right? Now, you don't like physical touch that much.
I do like physical touch, but not as
Right.
much. It's not my love language.
It's not your love
So for me,
language.
it's you serendipitously saying, you know, Jim, I really appreciate you. I love you, and I know what you're doing in the basement and taking the garbage out. That means a lot to me.
It means a lot. And it means a lot to me that your acts of service, or another way you describe, is that a love language for you. And so it's just really good to take a test to evaluate.
Yeah.
And you can also do it for your children,
Yes.
which is good to try and understand how your children are. So just a thought. If you've never done it, it's a good thing to do to understand who you are married to, which is important.
5lovelanguages.com. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, before we wrap up today's show, we're going to hear Catherine Hadro, who is the beautiful host of EWTN's Pro-Life Weekly. Now, Catherine, there's so much discussion about extreme abortion laws lately, like the one in New York. How will you be covering that?
Hi there, Jim and Joy. Yes, we are hearing more and more discussion surrounding extreme abortion laws, permitting abortion until birth. And the Virginia governor even made really disturbing comments recently about babies who are born alive and not cared for. To address all of that, we will be joined by abortion attempt survivor Melissa Oden. Her witness is so powerful, and you won't want to miss how she's responding to these abortion laws and why she's calling for more protection for abortion survivors. We'll also speak to Dr. Russell Moore, president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission, about ways Catholics and Protestants can better work together to advance a culture of life. It was lovely to meet him and to hear his insight. And you won't want to miss this story. The Knights of Columbus recently donated their 1,000th ultrasound machine to a Catholic medical clinic. We'll hear from Carl Anderson, the Supreme Knight of the Knights of Columbus, and Arlington Bishop Michael Burbidge about this crucial pro-life initiative. And as we do each and every week, we will share our pro-life call to action. It's a way for you to help advance the pro-life movement and to get involved yourself. To find out this week's call to action, simply go to prolifeweekly.com. Again, that's prolifeweekly.com. You can catch all of this and more on EWTN Pro-Life Weekly at 10 p.m. this Thursday and again on Sunday at 10 a.m. I hope to see you all there, but for now, back to you at home.
Thank you so much, Catherine, and some tough sharing from Catherine.
Yes.
This whole area of abortion. And we're speaking about marriage, National Marriage Week, and marriage is about not only our love and intimacy, it's about kids. Mm-hmm. It's about children. It's about, God hasn't given us any other plan. Really, we've done other things. It's marriage, the union of a man and a woman, comprehensive union, body, soul, spirit. All that I am, all that I have, I honor it, all in, and the children born from that union, if you're so blessed to have a child. That's what marriage is, that mutual comprehensive giving of self-donation, and children, the transmission of human beings of life. There is no other option for the church. Yes, we can do foster care and adoption as well, but the essence of marriage is the union of a man and a woman comprehensively, and the children that are born from this union to be defended, protected, loved, educated, reared up in the ways of the Lord. And we need to be about it.
Yes.
The church will be about it. God's grace will be there. His power of the sacrament will be there for us. And all together, we will build a new culture of life. Life, marriage, and the family is going to prevail.
Yes.
Don't be filled with fear. Christ will conquer in and through us. Keep it on EWTN. You're an important part of the family, and you're always at home with Jim and Joy. Bye now.